Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm broadcasting to you today from the Institute of Directors, my new absolutely favourite place. Check out the amazing lampshades. So, today we were talking about career conversations, how to have them, when to have them, how to get started. So, I wanted to give you some heads up, some tools and techniques to just think about that and to manage that in an effective way. So I guess the first thing for us to think about is who to speak to. Now, if you're working in an organization, there are three natural ports of call. The first, potentially your manager, if you've got a good relationship, you feel comfortable, and you feel that they care and are invested in your future development. The second is potentially someone in HR, business partner, someone working in that space who, again, has a vested interest in seeing you develop and thrive within the organization. And the third is a coach or a mentor who may be internal or external to the organization, but who you can safely bounce ideas off, share perspectives, get information from. If you're looking outside of the organization or potentially looking for a wholesale career change that you might not want to disclose to your employer, then you probably want to think about an external coach, colleague, supporter with whom, again, you can have a frank and supportive discussion. So, first of all, before you begin the conversation, decide who it is that is going to be most effective for you to speak to. Secondly, how do you begin the conversation? So, career conversations quite different to performance management or kind of tactical conversations about your work. Career is really about where I want to get to and how I can explore my ideas to help me to get there. To think about a career as a journey conversation, it's an exploration of your next steps, next stages, and where you might end up. Now, you may be fairly clear about where you want to go next, or you might genuinely be seeking out ideas and perspectives about where your career and your skill set could take you. The important thing to remember is that whoever you're approaching needs to be someone who's interested in exploring together with you. And people are actually very generous in sharing their time and expertise if you make the request of them. So, in terms of knowing how to begin, the easiest way to open up that conversation in a very free and informal way is just to ask for someone's opinion. I wanted to get your view on where my career might take me next. I wanted to share some ideas with you and to get your perspective on what my next steps should be, given that I would like to be X, Y, and Z in a certain period of time. So go with the request to be curious about where your future could take you and sharing perspectives and experiences, asking the other person to give you their insight. This sets up a very nice dynamic of sort of mentor, mentee, coach, coachee. You're asking them for their experience, their information, their insight, and how to correlate that with your aspirations and hopes for your future. So that's a good way to begin, to make it open and as spacious as possible. But this is a conversation that you want to have prepared for to some extent. And the preparation that I would recommend that you do is to take some time to think about what are the kinds of skills, the kinds of interests that I have that I see myself furthering or wanting to develop through the journey of my career. You need to be able to summarize fairly clearly and succinctly what it is that you think that you bring and what it is that you want to start amplifying through the experience of the career conversation. Another way to think about it might be, what kind of experiences do I want to have next in my career? What are the kinds of adventures that you want to go on in your world of work? And being able to share a little bit of that can be very helpful for starting off the conversation. Here's the bits that I know about myself. Here's what I know that I'm good at. Here's the things that I've done that I've really enjoyed. Here's some insight about what I think I want to do next, or if not a specific role, then the kinds of experiences that I want to have, and how can I get your input and your insight on how I might go about getting them. So it's an opportunity for you both to get curious about how the uniqueness that is you, the kind of characteristics, the talent, the experience that you bring might find its next chapter, either within the organization or outside of it. And again, be mindful, be sensitive. If you're working within an organization that values your work, you're a valued part of the team, suggesting that you want to make a complete career U-turn outside of that organization that might not be an appropriate conversation at that particular time. These conversations within organizations work best when you're trying to explore where the opportunities might lie that you might not have spotted yet within that organization, to do some horizon scanning together, some opportunity reflection, and some choice making together. It's not the time to say, I'm doing a bunk and I'm moving to a completely different part of the world to do something completely different. Of course, if you're speaking to someone outside of your organization, a recruiter, a coach, a mentor, a friend, you are, of course, at liberty to be much freer about sharing your perspective, because there's no vested interest in terms of the investment that the other person has made in you, in your training, in your salary, in your future. So be mindful and sensitive and respectful in that respect, as I'm sure that you will be. And then last thing is just to think a little bit about your timing. So I find these conversations work best when they're relatively casual, but depending on your style, you might want to formalize them to arrange a specific time set aside dedicated to the conversation. Or more informal, you might want to have just a little spot of time, 10 minutes, a quick reflection, just to get a quick bit of feedback and insight and some ideas from somebody. But either way, making sure that it's a spacious time, it's an appropriate time to make the request, whether that's on the spot in the moment with that person, or scheduling at a time that's more convenient where they can give you their undivided attention, is going to work best for you. So just to recap on key tips. Number one, think clearly about who's the best person, who really cares, is invested in my development, and also has a different perspective or insight across the organization I'm currently working in, who might be able to help me to align my skills and my desires and interests with the opportunities that currently exist. Secondly, think about how you start and try to start from the perspective of sharing ideas, of being curious, and making use of someone's experience and wisdom. We all love to share what we know, particularly in service of other people. Thirdly, take time to prepare. Know what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and a little bit of what you want to share and the questions you want to ask. So come prepared. It's your career, it's your conversation. You drive the agenda. And lastly, be mindful about timing. Make sure that there's the space and time to have the quality of conversation that you want. If you just want a little bit of input, a soundbite, you can probably ask for it off the cuff at a convenient, spacious time. But if you want an opportunity to really have a considered reflection together, you're probably best making an appointment so that both of you can give it your full attention. So I look forward to hearing how you get on with your brief or extensive career conversations, and to answering any of your further questions about how to make the most of them. Wishing you all the best and have a lovely weekend.